Like they want there to be racism. Because I feel like some people, like we live in a time now where, yeah, there's some people that are oppressed, but not like it used to be. Like I feel like there's like nostalgia for oppression. I really actually believe that. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this Monday edition of Crain and Company. Again, I know it's Monday, but we're going to get you through it because, as usual, to my left, former Michigan quarterback David Cone. To my right, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crain. Got a heck of a show for you today, so strap in, buckle up. Let's get it going on the Monday edition of Crain and Company. In my 35 years of life so far, I've seen a lot of NFL drafts. I'm assuming you guys have as well, and I'm seeing crazy stuff. And this draft to me, though, was without a doubt the craziest NFL draft of my lifetime. And you can just go through, even outside of the picks, the craziness on the periphery that we saw. We saw Mel Kiper crash out. We saw narratives get formulated out of nowhere, regardless of how contradictory they were. We saw prank phone calls from defensive coordinators in the league's son, and so much more we're going to get to. But at the end of the day, I do have to say, as nuts as it was, I have never been more locked in later in a draft than I was for this one. Now, will that maintain? It's going to be tough to top what we saw this past weekend. But at the end of the day, who really knows? David Cone, you know, we talked about before we came on here, and we're going to get through all this. I mean, there's a litany of stuff to go through. But have you ever in your life, from the start to the finish, and really in the first round, it was pretty clean outside of Shedeur not getting drafted. But have you ever seen an NFL draft that was just, it was on shrooms? Yeah. It was just laced with shrooms all the way through.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think social media plays a big part of that too, especially when you have a situation like Shedeur Sanders, where so many in the media and his father had propped him up as a top 5 pick or top 10, or without a doubt, a first rounder, right? And I was having to tell so many people this weekend, why don't you turn off ESPN and watch Crain and Company? You know, not that we get every single thing right, but I think you'd be a little bit better served if you were to watch this show day in and day out leading up to an event like the draft. But I was a little bit disappointed to see the Shedeur Sanders saga overshadow so many young men getting drafted. Yeah. At the same time, though, what you said is correct. I think a lot of eyeballs stayed tuned for the later rounds because it became a thing on social media and establishment media of when is Shedeur Sanders going to get drafted? So more people tuned in, which gave the guys who were getting drafted later an opportunity to have people watch their name get called. So I don't know where you guys fall on that, but I did want to say congratulations to all the young men who got drafted. And not only that, a lot of really good football players didn't get drafted, and they're already getting picked up in free agency. Just on the quarterback thing alone, Brady Cook's a hell of a quarterback, guys. Yeah. You know, Seth Hennigan from Memphis is a hell of a quarterback. Both those guys wouldn't surprise me at all if one day they're starting in the NFL. Both of them went undrafted. They both got picked up as free agents. So congratulations to all these young men who got to live out that dream.
100% agree with you. Blaine, obviously we're in sports media. We understand that you need to be entertaining. You have to get views. You have to get clicks. And our good friend Josh Pate, you know, I tweeted out, and we're going to get to the Mel Kiper video so we can show you if you haven't seen it, that I think Mel Kiper's cooked. I think he's cooked after this. And Josh was saying that, but this was great for TV because a lot of people watched it and it brought a lot of notoriety. And on one hand, I understand that. I don't know if you can replicate that. I feel like that's a one-time thing with the way Mel Kiper crashed out in this Shedeur situation. But at the end of the day, even as a guy who wore an electric dog collar during the draft,
please.
Oh, God! No. Which we told people it was going to be crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I want to watch clowns all go to the circus, some of it was a little bit overboard to me, where I think whether it's Kiper, whether it was Klatt, whether it's some of these other guys, and I've got a lot of respect for, well, most of them. But when you get a projection wrong as they got it, it felt a little bit personal to me watching some.
Well, when it gets to the point where Reese Davis has to get on there and basically shut you down because of what you're doing. The Joe Klatt situation, I can understand. Where's Klatt from?
Oh, no.
Klatt's from Colorado. So, look, I get repping your own. But Mel Kiper, I don't know how he keeps getting away with this. He's basically like a weatherman. He can just get up there and lie every single day and can get away with it. He literally said, I know we're going to get to the video, that the last, 50 years that every NFL team have been wrong about quarterbacks? What has Mel Kiper been right about? But my thing is that you said if Jimmy Clausen doesn't have a phenomenal career, that you will retire.
Well, he didn't say when, though.
Jimmy was in the league for 3 years, got off his rookie contract, and he also said Jamarcus Russell was going to have a great career. I've never seen, if you can name another guy, that's fine, who can just get up there and say things that are completely wrong and still every year sit on that desk and sit on that table and tell us and tell NFL executives and scouts that they've been doing it wrong for 50 years.
Oh, him and Jim Cramer, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've never seen two people be more wrong and somehow maintain a job for this long. I firmly believe, and again, I say this with all due respect, that if Mel Kiper Jr. wasn't one of the front men on NFL draft coverage, like right when it started, from the beginning, that there is no way in the world he could make it. If you just dropped Mel Kiper into the draft world, sports world, 3 to 5 years ago, there's no way he gets out of his mom's basement. There's absolutely no way. But there's something to be said for being one of the first guys to do something, and I think that's why Mel has been around so long. He was just one of the first guys to do it. He had early equity in NFL draft coverage, and therefore you can't just dismiss him now. But God, I want to play this video.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go ahead and play this video because, again, Reese Davis is a very calm, balanced person, even when it comes to controversial topics. But you can see in Reese Davis's face after 3 days of this? Fed up with it, dog. Fed up with it. Let's go ahead and play it.
I think yelling at the NFL about it is not.
There's not a quarterback. Boomer Esiason was not happy when he was a second-round pick. Tom Brady was not happy. They dropped. How'd they turn out?
And you know what? My point. Nobody's arguing that.
My
that
point
can happen.
is, the NFL has been clueless for 50 years when it comes to evaluating quarterback. Clueless. No idea what they're doing in terms of evaluating quarterback. That's proof. There's proof of that.
How many
times? They say we know exactly what we're talking about with quarterback. They don't.
Nobody's batted 1,000 there, though.
That's correct.
Right? I mean, I think that's...
All that matters now is what happens going forward. We talk about it all the time. There is the evaluation phase, there's the evaluation and selection phase, which we're in right now, and then there's the development and implementation phase. That's where we're heading to right now. That's all that matters for him. Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry,
and Lou,
have at it.
Quarterbacks now, and Reese, you know as well as anybody, college kids now get paid. They're professional. They're getting paid. They're commercials. They're out there. You got to deal with that. If you're the NFL, you got to deal with that. Okay? He's saying whatever he's saying behind closed doors. What's he saying? I want to be the guy. I should be this. I should be that. Deion's saying he's the best player in the draft. He's best quarterback. Second best to Travis Hunter. Best quarterback. Who is it? What quarterback out there didn't think they should have been a high first-round pick?
Again, nobody's criticizing what happened. We're saying he has to deal with the reality of the result.
I am all for not agreeing with people's selections and if you have good critiques. But I'm gonna tell you some truth. There is nobody in the world better at evaluating quarterbacks or football players going into the NFL as NFL scouting department. Like the amount of money and the amount of smart people that are, and again, like we said, nobody is gonna bat 1,000. This is the hardest thing to do. This is why high school recruiting is so hard for college coaches, why it's harder than the transfer portal, because you're a proven commodity. You've played at that level. In the NFL, that's why drafting is harder than free agency, because I can see you've played at this level. You're a more proven commodity. It is projecting. Nobody is batting 1,000. If you own a business and you hire employees, you're not going to always bat 1,000 on hiring employees. But Mel Kiper Jr. sitting up there and talking about how the NFL for 50 years has been awful at evaluating players does he just think no tape exists before this, David? Blaine brought up Jimmy Clausen.
Yeah.
Brought up Mel Kiper Jr., I believe, compared Shedeur to Joe Montana. Like,
he compared Jamarcus Russell to Elway.
Say you think they're missing Shedeur Sanders, But to say that the NFL doesn't know what they're doing, and Mel does, then Mel, why isn't your ass in the NFL?
Yeah, that's the thing. What an unprofessional thing for Mel Kiper to say. And to piggyback off Blaine's point, when a general manager misses on picks or doesn't assemble a great roster, there are consequences.
Yes.
You get fired. When Mel misses on picks, there are no consequences. He can get as many of these wrong, like your weatherman analogy, and he still will have a job and can come up here and get angry when like one of the projections is this far off. I played quarterback at a high level. I take pride in my projections, and I miss as many of these guys as I hit on because it's that difficult to evaluate jumping up to the next level. They only take a couple of these guys. I just mentioned a couple who are free agents who didn't even get drafted, but a couple of the other ones. Quinn Ewers is one of the highest rated recruits to ever come out of high school. Learned under the tutelage of Steve Sarkisian, made 2 college football playoffs, get drafted in the 7th round. Did you see his face before he got drafted? He was basically in tears. Will Howard, the reigning college football national champion, threw for 4,000 yards on 73%, gets drafted around the same time that Shedeur does. Kyle McCord led the nation in passing last year, gets drafted around the same time. Again, it becomes a simple math problem. How many of these teams absolutely needed quarterbacks? We need a quarterback answer for this upcoming year. Maybe 3, and maybe you can tack on an additional 3 for, hey, we could get by with what we have and win games, but we could also take a quarterback. So that's 6 of the teams, and then you piggyback off that with Deion Sanders saying, no, we're going to select the team that Shedeur goes to. We're going to really have a Manning family situation here. In the pivotal months of quarterback evaluation in January and February when he was saying that, well, you're turning off the very teams that would take you, because you're not making that comment to talk about the Chiefs, right, or the Philadelphia Eagles. You're shrinking the pool already. And then where does he go? The Cleveland Browns. And then the analogy is, well, look at what Baker Mayfield was very confident in himself and swaggy. Look at Johnny Manziel. You're hurting your argument because you're not talking about the rest of the league. No team has done poor in their evaluation of quarterbacks, drafting and free agency than the Cleveland Browns. And I hope that they got it right this year with taking Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, because like I told you guys last week, I want all these guys to do well. I'm not rooting against anyone, but at some point you have to live in reality, unlike Stephen A. Smith and Robert Griffin III and Ryan Clark and all these clowns out here trying to say there's a conspiracy against Shedeur Sanders. No, you liked watching his dad play. I didn't see you getting mad when Quinn Ewers went in the 7th round.
Yeah, and again, on the race part and the conspiracy thing, it doesn't make any sense. It's contradictory. Like, if the NFL is racist, they're the worst racists ever because they just drafted a black guy number 1. Like 85% of the first round was African American. If they're racist, they're the worst racists of all time ever. I do think though, and RG3, sometimes I agree with what he says, but like you look at the people who think that, they would rather just be racist than win. That's what it is. No, these guys are paid to win. If they don't win, they get fired, to your comment. But sometimes I think that sometimes the Ryan Clarks and those guys want there to be racism.
Sure.
Like they want there to be racism. Because I feel like some people, we live in a time now where, there's some people that are oppressed, but not like it used to be. Like, I feel like there's nostalgia for oppression. I really actually believe that. But we know how ridiculous that comment is about the NFL.
You saw the Michael Jordan documentary and how he would even lie to himself and others if it created an opportunity to put a chip on his shoulder. Remember that one situation where he said someone said something to him and the next game he put up 50 points against them, and then years later he's like, I made that up. So I could put a chip on my shoulder. That really does exist, but when you're talking about from a societal standpoint and creating division, and the demand for racism or sexism or whatever starts to outpace the actual supply that we have, and trust me, there's still enough supply. There's still enough hate in people's heart in the world. I'm not saying that, but when the demand, you're creating a demand for it, that's where I really start to have a problem, especially when you get paid $100 million to do it. I'm not talking about a fringe account on social media. I'm talking about leading voices in our culture that should be standing up and just saying the facts of a situation.
No, and again, that's too much asked for nowadays. So Stephen A. Smith sent this out. And then put a video out, basically, because Stephen A. Smith, if you hadn't figured this out, the reason it may work for him in politics, buddy can work both sides.
Yeah.
Woo! Nobody can sit on the fence like this guy. Stephen A. Smith said, someone just texted me this message, and they are absolutely correct, which probably means nobody texted him this. This is just what he thought, but he didn't want to make it seem like it was his thought. He said, this is a bad look for the NFL. This feels like Kaepernick-level collusion. All the hard work the NFL league office puts in to eradicate these kind of perceptions, to turn around and watch as the owners, in all caps, look like they're colluding, messing up everything. What has been done to Shedeur will outshine everything else in this draft. We'll never believe this is just about talent evaluation again. Couple things here. I'm going to start with the end first. Hey, Stephen A., I hate to tell you this. It's been more than just talent evaluation for a long time.
Especially for the quarterback.
Especially for the quarterback. If you're going to pay somebody millions and millions of dollars, they may have all the talent in the world, but if you're nuts, I'm not hiring you. It's never been just about talent evaluation. It's the whole person. It's the talent mixed with the mental. That's why Marshawn Lynch said you got to take care of your mental and your chicken. That's what he meant. The second thing, David, collusion? Collusion.
It's disgusting.
So you mean to tell me this is like the earth is flat people to me, level thinking. This is like men should play in women's sports level thinking to me. If you believe that all the owners drafted all these black guys, but then colluded to not draft one black guy because he's too cocky or arrogant or whatever, that is batshit, crazy to me. That's what it is. I was going to say you know what crazy, but there it goes. I just can't believe people really. Do you think he really believes that?
No, and that was my biggest thing this weekend. There's no way he believes that. And then you showed me the clip he put out saying, no, actually, Shedeur Sanders has to take some accountability. And I want people to understand there's a big difference between having a nuanced perspective and being able to understand all sides of what someone is saying and playing both sides. There's a big difference. And Stephen A. Smith, to me, while some situations he had, I'll say, okay, that was a nuanced perspective Stephen A. Smith had. More often than not, like this, you're playing both sides of an extreme, which I personally find disgusting. And I said the same thing when he called the Houston Texans racist for firing Lovie Smith. They immediately hired DeMarco Ryans and then drafted C.J. Stroud and win a playoff game each of the past 2 years. Same point you made to Mel Kiper. He doesn't get penalized for being wrong. He signed a $100 million deal. It's working for him. Why would he change with this sort of mentality? Kaepernick-esque collusion. And I'll tell you one more thing, which I didn't put in this tweet that I put out as a response to him. I wish what Stephen A. Smith was alluding to was actually happening more in the NFL. And what I mean by that is I wish NFL owners and GMs would account for character more often. I'm not necessarily saying collude together and call each other and not pick a certain kid, but I am saying I wish teams would look at someone like Johnny Manziel and say, you know what? No, we don't want you to represent our organization or the NFL. I wish they would look at some guys who have been found guilty of sexual assault and say, you know what? Man, you're a great Sam linebacker. You could do everything for us and help us win games, but we don't want you to be a part of our brand. I wish they would do that more.
Yeah, it's like that. Stephen A's like the politician that has a different accent everywhere he goes. And just has a different policy depending on where he is on certain
Maybe
things.
he will win.
Same thing. It's the same thing. And obviously it's working for him. It's working for him. And say what you want about Stephen A. He ain't getting sued by anybody like some other people right now. But Blaine, like another thing that's crazy about all the NFL owners colluding is like you do realize that yes, they own a team to make money. They want the NFL to make money, but they're also competing against each other. They are trying to best each other. You don't collude with people. You can trick them, just like Stalin never thought Hitler was going to invade Russia. Like they hated each other, but never thought that Hitler would invade Russia because Hitler was lying to him. This is the way it works. How many owners have lied to each other that said we're going to do this and not do? You ever see? How about GMs? You ever seen Draft Day? That's collusion. You want to know what collusion is? That's collusion, not this. It's so stupid.
Well, when did we maybe 32 teams just didn't think you were that good?
5 times.
Yeah, maybe 32
They all had
teams
5 chances.
Just didn't think you were that good. No, they're not drafting him because he's black and confident, Jake. That's why they're not drafting.
Well, it's like the guy we all know who's at the bar and sees the girl and goes up and asks her if he can buy her a drink or something, and she turns him down, and then he says, oh, well, I didn't like you anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's that type of like...
That's the energy.
Well, we're going to see how it works out for these NFL teams. So speaking of working out, we've all been there, all right? You're endlessly scrolling through fitness influencers, selling complicated routines that promise the world but end up delivering very little, because the truth is most of these tips and tricks just overcomplicate what should be simple. And that's where Fitbod comes in. They combine the workout planning and tracking you actually need to stay consistent and make real progress. And what makes Fitbod special is how it builds workouts around your specific situation. The app crafts routines based on your unique fitness journey, available equipment, and even factors in your recovery time between sessions. And their smart technology ensures each workout hits the sweet spot, challenging enough to drive results without pushing you to burn out. Plus, they have over 1,000 demonstration videos, so you'll never wonder whether you're doing an exercise correctly or not. It's like having a trainer who really knows you, pushing you just enough to make progress without burning you out. I mean, we have all used Fitbod before. Again, the customization of it, I think, is the best part. All right, at the end of the day, you have to have a workout that is crafted to you that can measure your success because everybody is different. So level up your workout today. Join Fitbod to get your personalized workout plan, get 25% off your subscription, or try the app free for 7 days at fitbod.me/booster. That's fitbod.me/booster. Beach season's it's here, guys. It's here. All right, you can't be walking out there looking flabby and sad. You got to tighten. Like the Tennessee Titans. Let's get back into it. The prank calls to NFL draftees, potential NFL draftees, is just such a stupid thing, in my opinion. I just want to play this clip. So this is what the Falcons defensive coordinator's son that got Shedeur Sanders' number and prank called him.
Jeff Albright.
Jeff Albright. Let's go ahead and play this video.
Hey, is this Shedeur? This is Mickey Loomis here, the GM of the New Orleans Saints. How you doing? This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
This ain't gonna be nothing to do.
Hey, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
It's not funny. It's not funny. Like, this is close to you should get your ass beat for this.
I don't think you're wrong.
Like, this is close to maybe some community service. Maybe you need to go pick up stuff around the street. But this is a defensive coordinator's son, and now they're asking for the father's head. But it's amazing how you only heard of certain players getting prank phone calls. With the amount of players that got prank phone called, how it just builds to the narrative of, well, only these guys are getting prank phone called. And you can see an occurrence and a similar theme to the people that are on social media that, oh my goodness, how bad is this? Tyler Warren got prank phone called. Frank Luntz got prank phone called. The amount of
Cooper DeJean a year ago. I didn't find out until this weekend.
I didn't either.
Well, I would rather it be that way. I would rather they just not tell us about.
Sure.
It's like that way doesn't give air to it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know about the Cooper DeJean one. And look, with Shedeur and the way the draft was going, that's why I think this really, really blew up as opposed to like a guy that went in the first round. Like if you're gonna prank call me and I'm gonna go in the first round, well, two birds up, buddy. Like we're doing good on this side. But I am all for having fun. Again, we were electric dog collars during the NFL draft live stream. If you haven't seen that, God, don't put it on your dog. Just trust me. But there's a time and a place for everything. You don't ding-dong door ditch a family with two infants, right? Not that ding-dong door ditching isn't fun.
Actually, let's don't ring the doorbell at all.
To do like every now and then. But there's a time and a place for it. Senior pranks in school, hilarious. I'm all for it as long as nobody gets hurt. The time that the guy got the number to Texas A&M or whoever's bullpen or dugout and called him and told him to get some guys ready in the bullpen and they set him down. Victimless crime to me. Victimless crime. This, though, I mean, these guys have been working for this their whole life. Everybody is incredibly on edge. You're typically surrounded by your family. You don't know what's going to happen. And the vulnerability of these guys after all the work that's been put in. I mean, I watched Malachi Starks talk about how he was homeless twice growing up. Like, you hear stories about Josh Jacobs, who had to sleep in his car and stuff like that. Like, this is not the time. And to me, it is such it's disrespectful, number one. But there's levels of disrespect. This is just, it's borderline evil to me. Like, to do this to another human being in this moment of time. So, look, his dad... You're in college, but that was an Ole Miss shirt. You're in college. Look, you can call them kids if you want, but you're smart enough to know there's a right and a wrong and that there's consequences. His dad don't need to face consequences on this. This is him. This is him. Now, I don't think he should go to jail, but I do think there should be some sort of And karma, it's a you-know-what. It's a you-know-what, and it can come back and get you. The Falcons released a statement here, David. It was so bad.
Yeah, they released a statement, and I agree with you. I don't think any action should be taken against the father. And I do want to ask you guys in a little bit, because your dad was a football guy, not just a football coach. A football guy. So I want to ask you, what the reaction is going to be coming from this guy towards his son. But I do want to say, I think this comes from a place of jealousy. You're sitting there watching other guys on television, and they're having their moment, and you want to intervene and steal their moment because you have nothing going on in your life. I don't want to hit Ole Miss too hard, but there's something going on at Ole Miss. These stories just keep popping up. I know they like to have a good time on the Grove, but man, we got to take a close look at what's going on at Ole Miss. But yeah, father, defensive coordinator for the Falcons. No one is angrier than he is, and no one's going to punish his son more than he is. What would Kurt Crain's response have been to this?
Well, David, I just have to tell you, I'm 35 years old. I am a grown-ass man with a family and a mortgage, and my dad has been gone for over a decade. I am still horrified of if I were to do something like that, his ghost would come down and whip my ass. Like that. See, that thought would never have even come into my head. Like it would never have even worked this way out. And God forbid somebody around me was doing it. Buddy, I'm out of here. I'm seeing you. My dad, this is coming from the guy who used to be like, hey, how old are you again? Like 12. Be like, all right, well, you're going to get 12 weapons then. So I'm not, not me, bud.
I would immediately have to leave the country.
No, for sure.
After that happens.
Witness protection.
Start over. I'd have to start over.
You
Another
would.
life.
And I would want to. If I did something like that,
I would never be there mentally because I'm just the fear I have and what my father would do to me. And certainly, there's no way. But I would have to go, maybe move to India, start making hot dogs on the street or something like that.
Yeah, do that Indian.
But I'm immediately on a plane, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
Again, he's gone.
And it sucks if you're the dad, because you just drafted Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr.
They had a great draft. Falcons only had 5 picks and got what they
needed. Your defensive line is going to be absolute savages this year.
I love it.
It just, right when I found out that it was the guy's son, the coach's son, I just immediately thought of the scene on Step Brothers when they show the video that crashes the boat, and Will Ferrell's like, look, let's put all the other aside. Are you going to invest or what? Bro, why? That just, again, the fear of father, forget fear of failure, the fear of father is lacking there, and that's surprising coming from a NFL DC.
Yeah, my
there's
dad
even more
an NFL
crazy
GM,
stuff,
and best believe I would have been feeling it today at any age from my dad.
You better play good.
Yeah,
you better play good.
You better do something to make up for this. Save the family's name for sure. Let me ask you guys this though: what other teams won this draft? We talked about this in the first round, but it's hard to win or lose a draft just in the first round. All the picks have been made. What were your favorite teams this weekend, and what were some losers from this weekend?
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I thought the Falcons had a fantastic draft. I thought the Titans did really well. Again, overall, and we said this after the first round, as crazy as this draft was, I think there were more winners this time in this draft and less losers than any time I can remember. We can talk about the Dolphins' first-round pick and, Kenneth Grant, didn't love that with what they needed on the offensive line.
How about then drafting Quinn Ewers, though, in the 7th round? If there was one team I thought wouldn't draft Quinn Ewers, it would be the Miami Dolphins, who already struggle with a brittle quarterback.
Well, I think they're just probably shocked he was there.
I get that, but there's 31 other teams that could have been shocked. I thought that'd be the last place he would go.
Hey, we didn't go get an offensive lineman in the first round. Let's go get another brittle quarterback late. That's a great combination. But I thought, look, my hat's off to a lot of I thought the Browns. Look at that. Look, I think the Browns had signed the worst deal ever for a quarterback in free agency, possibly, but may have gotten the best value ever for drafting a quarterback with Shedeur 5. And those two things exist.
And how about Dylan Gabriel?
Yeah. And Dylan Gabriel.
One of them's got to work out. Right?
They're gonna fight it out. And look,
same with them drafting Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson, 2 running backs.
Look, again, I think there were more winners this time than I've ever seen in the NFL draft, which I thought was awesome.
Who do you think won?
This might sound crazy, but I thought the Giants had a phenomenal.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, you get Abdul Carter, who's going to be a huge piece for you. You get the quarterback you wanted in Jackson.
And we'll see.
I mean,
We'll
you
see.
get Darius Alexander
And
from
say his
Toledo.
name. Say his name.
Did you get that boy Cam Scott?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
I'm a Giants fan
I'm telling
now,
you what,
man.
it's going to be really hard for me not to root for the Giants
Yeah.
this year, especially if Cam's out there toting the rock. But I thought the Giants, within the organization, drafted what they needed, and they drafted well. Guys who are kind of under the radar a little bit, guys who are over the radar. Is a nice blend of what they need.
Well, and again, we like what they have on the. You look at that defensive front seven.
Oh, yeah.
Right now with the Giants, and when they were cooking, we can say we want about Eli Manning and Plaxico Burress and all those, and they were incredible. But the Giants defensively. That's what got them.
That hadn't been a problem.
And put them over the top when they were absolutely cooking.
Now, you need to hit on Jackson Dart, I believe.
Yeah, you always have to hit
but
on
not
the
necessarily this season. I mean,
No, you don't want to.
No.
You don't want
You would
to.
be in a much better position if Jackson Dart isn't playing meaningful reps this upcoming season because it means Russell Wilson
And that's a great
or
guy to learn
Jameis are
from.
working
Just
out.
don't give him 5 parking
100%.
spaces.
I agree with all you guys on the Titans, Giants, Falcons, loved all that. I also thought the Bears, man. I like the Colson Loveland pick. Picked up Luther Burden III in the second round, the wide receiver out of Missouri. I love that pick. And then Kyle Munganai, the running back from Rutgers, in the 7th round.
Yeah.
How many times you talk about him
Dude,
last
I
year?
was shocked. To be honest with you, and again, the evaluation process, those guys, they funnel millions of dollars into it. I get it. I was because if you watch Munganai run, you know who he reminds you of? Pacheco.
Yeah, he does.
Both of them what? Rutgers backs.
yeah.
Like there's a pattern here. But no, man, you talk about how deep this draft was. I mean, even look at the Rams going to get Jarquez Hunter and Keandre Lambert-Smith too.
I liked it, too.
I thought were really
Josiah Stewart.
Dude, again, the better question is who lost the draft? When I'm sitting here thinking of who lost the draft, why is the first thing that comes to my mind the Falcons DC?
Yeah.
But again, the organization.
Mel Kiper lost the draft.
Yeah, Mel Kiper was the biggest loser.
Colts. I mean, to get Tyler Warren, I thought the most dynamic tight end falls to you there in the middle of the first round. Then TJ Tuimoloau, the edge from Ohio State.
Yeah.
You got a heck of a player there. They got DJ Giddens, the running back from Kansas State. Took a flyer on Riley Leonard late. I mean, I don't know. Let's see how that works out. But
Let's watch you run a route.
yeah,
Hey, let's give you the route.
Yeah,
tree.
maybe a little wildcat,
Break
something
me
like
off a
that.
little
How about the Raiders? Got Ashton Genty like you called before the draft, which I think is a great pick. But then another cool thing, Tommy Mellott, the quarterback out of Montana State, and they took Cam Miller, the quarterback out of North Dakota State, who played each other in the FCS championship. But Tommy Mellott's going to play wide receiver.
Yeah.
Just football players. That's what they got a couple what did they say on Remember the Titans? Which I think, just to put a bow on this Shedeur thing quick, I think that some people like RG3 and Ryan Clark think we live in the Remember the Titans age. Like we're stuck there, right? Like instead of where we're at now. It's like, dog, what? Like Shane Gillis has the funniest bit on Remember the Titans. You remember he's talking about we're gonna there's gonna be nothing but white kids on our high school team. He's like, wait, they're 4-0?
Yeah.
And it just defeats racism. Like, dude, this isn't Remember the Titans. Coach Boone isn't out here in the NFL trying to beat all odds. But I want to move on here, guys, to Bill Belichick. Okay. And I've come to the conclusion that I think he may be kidnapped by this chick. And if that's not the case, if there was ever a question of whether it's undefeated or not, they got Bill. Like, this is Sunday morning on CBS. Watch Bill, and I want to play you a video this reminded me of right after, before we respond. Let's play Bill. I mean, I almost want him to blink twice here. Let's just play this clip.
Make sure that that's the philosophy.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No way.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Look at those eyes.
Oh no.
It's like
I've seen those eyes before.
Like Evil Anne Hathaway, but here's the video it reminded me of. This video went viral because this chick's boyfriend, if you look, I think he's in trouble. I think he's being kidnapped. Just listen to this, and this is where I think Bill Belichick is right now, but just on a higher level because Bill's famous. Let's go ahead and play this clip.
Who has the best girlfriend ever?
I do.
Who just bought you all this stuff?
She did.
And all the stuff?
My girl bought all of it, and I'm about to eat this, and then we're gonna chow on that after. So.
Is that Chinese food?
Happy Easter.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, David.
But we're not eating it all. Just know that. Because we gotta save some.
Yeah.
You know? Budget cuts. You know?
Put the gun down, lady.
Save, save, save. You know?
Wow.
Kill
So
me.
we're gonna scoff this stuff down.
No way.
Look at his eyes.
Because Boo deserved it. You know?
You think that's Bill, huh?
Dude,
Even though we
I
get
think
in
this
our
is where we're
arguments
headed.
Sometimes, I still love you. Okay?
I just.
I love you too.
Yeah, you better.
Don't kill me.
Yeah, you better. She said, yeah, you better.
With a knife, probably.
I mean, the Chinese food selection on Easter, first off.
That's wild.
We need to talk about
That's
that.
wild.
Second off, that might be the only girl that guy can get, though. That might be the only option.
Not worth
Bill
it.
Belichick,
Not
you
worth
got 8 Super Bowl rings,
Not worth
man.
it.
Bill?
You're kidnapped? I don't buy the kid. This is
no.
more of a,
Okay.
This is a Yoko Ono situation.
Okay, I guarantee you that, to your point, first off, that looked like a video the North Koreans send out to tell you, like, everything's great here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we have so much food. It's so fun here. We have rides. And, like, they can't leave their house. And, like, you have to have a picture of, like, Kim Jong-un on there or they'll just shoot you.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you that girl is not attractive. Not attractive at all. This girl that Bill Belichick is with, and Bill's what, 74? And she's what, 25? So I feel like Bill Belichick is now more concerned about being able to make her happy than any of the other stuff. David, he
That's
cussed
where we're
out-
at.
Dude, are we
This
talking
man-
about Bill Belichick?
This is the man
You
that
didn't even
cussed
want
out
Tom
Tom
Brady
Brady.
there.
Now
in
I'm
meetings.
worried.
This is the man that cussed out Tom Brady means having a 25-year-old woman tell him what he can and cannot say, or can and cannot do.
There's a couple things.
And listen, I love the ladies. Like what they say, they really rev my engine. But at the end of the day, buddy, Bill Belichick, I'm worried. I'm worried we're going down a dark path. How long till she's calling plays?
That's what I was worried
Yeah.
about. Two things, like it's 3rd and 7. It's like, hey, we're going to do this and run that. Then you just hear, no, we're not. We're not going to do that. We're going to do this. And the second thing, it sounded like that was a nefarious question or anything like that. He just asked you how y'all met. So by her saying that, now you're hiding something. All right? Now you just opened the barrel of the rabbit hole that people want to go down and see. Now the suits are effed
Like
up.
what?
Well, I mean, maybe it's
Frost?
Allegedly, use
Was
the
she-
word.
Frost?
allegedly a high escort.
No
What
way.
they call
I
the
thought they
blue
met
chip
on an
back in the
airplane. Didn't he put out
Guys,
something?
guys,
that said
Why
that?
let's
would
not-
they just say that?
Guys, let's not forget that we saw that, what was it, the Dolphins O-line coach that was talking, I'm just going to use allegedly, because he got fired, but was talking to the prostitute and like doing lines of cocaine on like FaceTime with her. I'm telling you,
this
man.
feels like the guy.
This just,
the
something's
guy-
wrong here,
this
David.
feels like the guy who goes into the strip club and keeps sighing until one of the strippers come over and ask him what's wrong. That's what it feels like. This is what that feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me.
Bill Belichick?
I know.
That's like a random dude.
I know.
I'm talking about he can't fit all the Super Bowl rings on one hand, and we're in this position.
Exactly.
We're shying at the strip
I'm
club.
as surprised as you are, Dave.
He should be the alpha in this whole thing. He should be telling her what's up, not the other way around. We wouldn't know this chick from Eve if she wasn't with Bill Belichick. But you said the guy that goes into the strip club that just keeps sighing until one of the strippers asks what's wrong.
You haven't seen that guy?
I don't know how your brain works, dude.
He just walks in and he's like, oh. Like peeks out just to see.
It'd be one thing, too, if he was retired. You're sort of crashed after football. You're done with football finally. You don't really know. Your life is kind of spiraling a little bit without that structure and that discipline. You've been a football guy your whole life. You're the head coach at North Carolina. How's this going to play out?
I don't know.
How's it for real?
It's one of two things. It's either going to be an incredible success or an absolute 5-alarm fire disaster.
It's starting to feel like it's only
Pompeii
downhill from
explosion
here.
levels.
If she calls plays, if she calls a play and dials it up for a touchdown, she's the OC now.
Oh, yeah.
No, wait.
Like,
but
she's the offensive coordinator.
Hey, coach.
Do we need to have a Bill Belichick intervention?
Let's do that.
I think so.
Like just sit around, everybody write a letter, saying how it's affected them. We're worried.
But she won't let him come to that, though.
No.
How can you get Bill Belichick in an intervention?
You may have to
without
kidnap him like they did on Old
Skyhook.
Oh,
It might be
like
Skyhook
Blue?
situation.
Like they got Blue? Hey, don't worry, we'll bring him back.
We'll
Yeah,
have him back by
bring him back for
dinner.
dinner.
It's just
It's wild, man.
What an absolute
Times we live in.
All right, guys. Well, any parting shots here for the good Americans?
What a great weekend. Great weekend.
Yeah.
Great weekend. We appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Got a great show for you tomorrow with Tim Brando as well. You don't want to miss that. And like the chances of me not being worried about Bill Belichick and his future, we're going. Gone. Well, that was a good throw.